Why would you talk about that? Why would you talk about that every day? Here's what Kirby Smart. That was Kirby Smart's reaction to a question about a goal of winning the national championship. It's a good question, and here's what he had to say along the way. The end goal is that you get more results, that you're able to win championships. We never shy away from that being our goal, but it's not something we have to talk about every day. Why would you talk about that every day? Because you're focusing on the wrong thing if that's the case. You need to focus on how you're going to do that. How do we get that net sum to positive over negative? And that's by pulling everybody in the right direction. That's our goal. Well, the truth is, you can't win the national championship every single day. That only happens once a season. So Kirby's sort of got a point there. And frankly, you don't have to be the best team in college football to win a national championship, as David Pascal used to tell me. You just have to be the best team in college football. You just have to be the best team on the field that you play on each week to win the national championship. Dean Legge from Dog Post, making you a smarter fan, Georgia fan. I'm sure our friends in the Power Five would say that the non-Power Five would say that's not the truth. To which I would say, go back to your little hole in Orlando, UCF. What do you think about this? This is something that obviously Georgia fans can't wait to win the national championship, and they've been doing a lot of waiting these last few decades. But the people that seem to be talking about it more than anybody else are people that comment below that are not Georgia fans. It's sort of the Florida groups, the Tennessees, the LSU's and Alabamas, the people that don't like Georgia Tech, I guess, if they're around, Auburn. It seems to be more of a topic what Georgia hasn't done than what it has. But Kirby's got a point here. Why would you talk about that every day? I'm trying to think of some of the goals I have personally, and I don't talk. I mean, I don't talk about those goals every single day. And one reason why is because let's just say you're JT Daniels. Like this next rep is not going to get you the national championship. That's you got to do the right thing at that moment because it's the right thing to do at that moment. I mean, you got to get to the stage where you can win the national championship. And the first game that you play isn't going to win you the national title. It's not going to lose it for you either. I mean, I've found through the years that it's hard to win the national championship in September because if that were the case, there'd be quite a few teams that would have national championships that just fell apart as the season went along. Um, it's hard to lose it in September, but you can in theory if you've got a couple losses. But a game here or there, no. But at the end of the day, what Georgia needs to be getting ready for right now, really more than anything, is spring football. Because if you're not concentrating on what you need to concentrate on, and you're sort of daydreaming, you're getting your Luke Skywalker on, you're not going to be there for the present and in the moment. Butch Jones, comes to mind talking about brick by brick and all this stuff. It's very cheesy, and he didn't sell it very well. But the reality is, the only way you can do something is one step at a time. The only way that you can do something is one brick at a time if you're building a house. Um, you know, for Georgia, they really do need to concentrate on what they are doing that day, because and I know this from building a company like this one, you can't snap your fingers and just do one thing. And we have goals, and we're meeting our goals, frankly. But the only way to do something is to be in the moment and do the thing you're supposed to do at that time. So right now, if you're Georgia and you've got guys coming in throwing, you've got guys who are developing just as players, and some of these guys have never played before. If you're thinking about, I don't even, I think the national championship game is in Indianapolis this year. I'm not sure I know that because I personally don't plan that far ahead. Why would I? Um, if you're thinking about the bags you got to pack for Indianapolis right now, you you might not get to Atlanta. So it really is an interesting way to put it because Kirby's got pressure. I mean, there's no doubt. We're going into year six here, like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And well, we're on 21 now. So we're 6 years in, and there are a lot of people who are going to say, and there's reason to criticize, for sure, Kirby Smart. Um, but I think what happens is, folks, we get into this thing where, as a society, just because someone's won something, that means they're right, and just because someone hasn't won something, they're not right. And I can think of many times in college football where the folks who've won titles, they didn't always win it because they were right. I'll put it to you that way. But Kirby totally can win the national championship. I expect him to win the national championship. But when he doesn't, that doesn't mean that everything he did to build up to that was wrong. People say, well, why don't they win it? They got all the talent in the world. Well, Alabama has talent too. Clemson has talent. LSU had talent and still has some, I think, just not what they had in 2019. So there's a wall there. And the coach at Ohio State, the coach at Oklahoma, they haven't won national championships, but they're very good coaches, and they very well could win it. They could win it this year, particularly Oklahoma, particularly with that path Oklahoma has. So it really is. I didn't think it was a bad question because I liked the answer. Talking about excellence and expectations. I mean, Kirby came to Georgia in 2016 knowing that it was not what it needed to be. And he's gotten it, to me, he's gotten it what it needs to be. And I think a national championship celebration would help a lot of people breathe in Athens. But they're doing the right stuff. And that's just all there is to it. When you talk about the facilities at Georgia, the recruiting, I don't want to talk about the culture because I'm not in the program, but it's clear that there is a effort to win at Georgia in a way that was not there before Kirby was there. And you've got a different AD now, but you've got a different coach, you've got a different circumstance in terms of a willingness, a buy-in from the institution. And so when you're Georgia and you're trying to get to win the national championship, inevitably when you do, the question is only going to be, well, when are you going to win it next? And the only way to win it multiple times is to do what people like Nick Saban have done, which is to do the everyday stuff that you got to do to win it all. And that means a laying down of a foundation for facilities, etc. Georgia's certainly done that. I mean, the locker room upgrade alone was a major thing at Sanford Stadium. Nevertheless, the football facility they're building, which is really nice and everything, which they already had a nice facility. They have an extremely nice indoor facility. I mean, Georgia's got it all. They didn't have all that. And so that was just step one. And then you got to go out and recruit. And then you got to raise money. And then you've got to hire the right coaches. And there's a lot that goes on in these things. And, you know, sometimes Kirby takes the questions the wrong way, or he just chooses to take them the wrong way. That can happen. That happens a lot. And so maybe sometimes he's just talking to himself. But why would you talk about that every day? Because you're focusing on the wrong thing if that's the case. Well, I see what he's saying. I also do think that he allows for he lets himself kind of build up to get motivated by questions that we ask. But the reality is, if it's Friday, you need to go recruiting in the fall. And that means you're out and about. Well, that's not going to help you win the national championship this year, but it's going to help you win it in the future. And that's the thing. You've got to do what you've got to do when you got to do it. And talking about it doesn't really do any good. But I loved the question from Jake because it let Kirby go on his spiel, and the reality is that they got to do what they got to do. Talking about it makes no difference, and we've been talking about that here forever, and it's made no difference. Um, and I don't think there's anything wrong with not talking about winning the national championship. So there's gonna be one team that wins the national championship in 2021. That's it. And I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be Georgia or not, but it's not gonna be Georgia, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, and LSU. It's only gonna be one of them. And we can talk the talk all we want, but it ain't happening but for one team. And if you're not doing what you got to do when you're supposed to do it, it's not going to be you. Let's talk about this more on Dog Post, dawgpost.com. We'll see you over on the website.